While war rages between Pakistan and Afghanistan, the President of the United States just made a choice. Donald Trump publicly refused to intervene, but he did something much worse. He called the Pakistani Prime Minister and the Pakistan Army Chief great leaders whom he respects a lot. Why is a superpower suddenly praising a military establishment known for exporting terror? The answer is a massive warning for India. Let us look at the cold, hard facts. In geopolitics, nobody cares about morality. Nobody cares about democratic ideals or human rights lectures. They only care about power, leverage, and strategic positioning. Just hours ago, amid a bloody border conflict involving cross-border firing, airstrikes, and drone attacks between Pakistan and Afghanistan, Donald Trump was asked point-blank if America would step in. His response was a masterclass in cynical realism. He said, "I would, but I get along with Pakistan very, very well." He specifically praised Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir, calling them great leaders that he respects a lot. Think about what is happening here. The United States, the nation that spent 20 years fighting terrorism in Afghanistan, is now openly validating the very Pakistani military establishment that funded the insurgency against American troops. To understand why, you have to look at the map. I want you to look at the geography of this region on your screen right now. Geography is the one thing in geopolitics that you cannot change. Look at where Pakistan sits. To its west lies a highly volatile Afghanistan. To its southwest sits Iran, a country currently in the crosshairs of American foreign policy and the Middle East. To the east, the rising superpower of India. And to the south, the Arabian Sea, providing direct access to the Persian Gulf. Geography is destiny, and Pakistan is sitting on prime geopolitical real estate. Washington knows that if it wants to keep an eye on Tehran, if it wants to manage the chaos spilling over from Kabul, it needs airspace, it needs ground intelligence, it needs the Pakistan Army. Donald Trump is a purely transactional leader. He is a businessman looking at a ledger. He does not care if Pakistan has a history of funding proxy wars. Right now, the men in Rawalpindi are offering something America desperately wants. We saw this last year when Trump hosted Asim Munir at the White House, famously calling him his favorite field marshal. This diplomatic tilt is not an accident. It is a highly calculated strategy to secure American interests in the region without putting American boots on the ground. Let us do a quick hypocrisy check on the global order. For years, Western think tanks and politicians have lectured the developing world about democratic values. Yet, when push comes to shove, Washington will easily bypass civilian governments to make deals directly with men in uniform. The American establishment knows that the civilian government in Islamabad is just a facade. Real power flows from the military headquarters in Rawalpindi. By publicly backing the Pakistani military leadership during an active conflict with Afghanistan, America is sending a clear message to Kabul and an incredibly disturbing message to New Delhi. The United States is willing to legitimize and empower the very military that bleeds its neighbors through 1,000 cuts, as long as it serves Washington's immediate tactical goals. This dynamic is not new. If you look at history, America has always returned to Pakistan when the geography demands it. During the Cold War, to counter the Soviets, during the War on Terror, to access Afghanistan, and now, as tensions with Iran reach a boiling point, the Pentagon and the White House are once again looking at Pakistan as a necessary asset. The International Monetary Fund, which is heavily influenced by the United States, continues to keep Pakistan's economy on life support. Why? Because a collapsed Pakistan is a nightmare for global security, but a dependent Pakistan is a highly useful tool for American foreign policy. This brings us to the most critical part of our analysis. What does this massive geopolitical shift mean for India? Over the last decade, there has been a dangerous illusion growing in certain circles in New Delhi, a fantasy that the United States and India are now unbreakable strategic partners and that America has completely and permanently abandoned Pakistan. Donald Trump's latest statement shatters that illusion into a million pieces. If you are an Indian policymaker or a military strategist, this is your wake-up call. America's grand strategy in the Indo-Pacific might align perfectly with India when it comes to containing the rise of China. In the maritime domain, the United States needs the Indian Navy, but in the continental domain of South Asia, the United States will play a double game whenever it suits its national interest. Let us look back at Operation Sindoor just a year ago. When tensions peaked between India and Pakistan, Donald Trump proudly took credit for intervening and stopping a potential nuclear war. This proves a harsh, realist truth. America will intervene to maintain a balance of power in the subcontinent, not to allow India to achieve a decisive, crippling victory over the Pakistani military establishment. The American establishment knows that America wants a managed rivalry in South Asia because it allows Washington to sell weapons to India while keeping strategic leverage over Pakistan. If a major crisis erupts tomorrow on the line of control, do you really think Washington will unconditionally back New Delhi? The man sitting in the Oval Office just told the entire world how much he respects the chief architect of Pakistan's military strategy. This is exactly why the concept of strategic autonomy is not just a diplomatic buzzword for the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. It is a fundamental matter of national survival. India cannot afford to outsource its security guarantees to Washington, Moscow, Paris, or anyone else. When the United States praises the Pakistani army, it is indirectly endorsing the military-industrial complex that targets Indian citizens and soldiers. It is green-lighting the deep state that harbors anti-India terrorist syndicates. The strategic lesson here is brutal, but absolutely necessary. India must double down on Atmanirbharta, complete self-reliance in defense manufacturing. We cannot rely on imported fighter jets, foreign drones, and imported ammunition if the very countries selling us these advanced weapons are simultaneously praising our primary adversaries. India needs to rapidly build its own indigenous defense ecosystem, because in the next major war, we will fight alone, we will win alone, or we will perish alone. There will be no American cavalry coming over the hill to save us. Furthermore, India must expand its own geopolitical leverage to counter this American double game. If the United States uses Pakistan to balance Afghanistan and Iran, India must use its massive economic gravity to make it too costly for the West to play both sides. Today, India is a massive global market, but being a market is not enough. A $3 trillion economy is respected, but a $10 trillion economy with an indigenous military-industrial base, a dominant navy, and a robust intelligence network dictates the terms of global engagement. Until India reaches that absolute pinnacle of comprehensive national power, we will continue to see American presidents trying to balance their relations between New Delhi and Pakistan. Before we conclude this geopolitical analysis, let me test your knowledge of this volatile region. I have a quick question for you. Which famous borderline officially separates Pakistan and Afghanistan, a highly contested line that is currently the center of this massive military conflict? Is it A, the Red Cliff Line, B, the Durand Line, C, the McMahon Line, or D, the Line of Control? Let me know your answer in the comments below. Let us summarize the harsh reality of the situation we are witnessing. Donald Trump's praise for the Pakistani military establishment is not a random slip of the tongue. It is a deliberate, calculated recalibration of American foreign policy in South Asia and the Middle East. It is a stark reminder that superpowers do not have permanent allies. They only have temporary assets. Today, the Pakistan army is a useful asset for Washington's strategic chessboard. Tomorrow, the geopolitical equation might change entirely. But for India, the path forward is singular, clear, and unforgiving. Build massive internal strength, accelerate domestic defense production, trust no foreign power entirely, and always keep your powder dry. In the cold world of geopolitics, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. Thank you for listening.